Hi, welcome to West Coast Stackers. Is your money shrinking? Do you know the true nature of inflation? Don't be fooled, cash is trash. We are in one of those economic periods that everyone can see our dollar losing value. It lost 12 to 15% from 2020 till today. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, sums it up perfectly when he says, people are poor because they don't know fake money. The August 2023 inflation report is out. We have the biggest jump in inflation since 2020. A monthly jump of 0.6%. A friend of mine said, that's no big deal. But the reality is staggering. That seemingly harmless monthly percentage can translate into a jaw-dropping 8.3% annualized inflation. That's crazy. The dollar you had in 2020 has already lost 15% of its value due to inflation. And if things continue at this pace, you could be facing a whopping 23% loss by next year at this time. That $100 bill in your pocket might buy you only $77 worth of goods. That $10,000 in your bank could shrink to $7,700. And so why is this happening? It's because our money is a fiat currency. The quick explanation is our dollar is losing value. If the government says it's inflation, it's outside their power. If the government said it's retail stores, it's businesses, it's corporations raising prices on you, the consumer, they are saying they're not responsible. If they were to say currency is losing value, the only group responsible for monetary policy is the U.S. government and the central bank. And it has been losing value for well over 40 years. It's time to wake up from the illusion that cash is king. Cash is merely a pit stop for silver and gold. It's a pit stop for real estate. It's a pit stop for positive cash flow businesses. Create any type of cash flow. Do not let cash sit idly by. It only loses value. The purpose of this video is to see the true nature of the U.S. dollar and to take some sort of action to protect your standard of living. We'll be back in a moment. Understanding the true nature of money is to understand that the U.S. dollar is a fiat currency. Fiat is a form of currency that lacks any intrinsic value. It's not backed by a physical commodity like gold or silver. Instead, its value relies solely on the government's declaration or decree that it should be considered legal tender. If our money was based on gold again, I could exchange my dollars for gold like they did prior to the U.S. in 1971. Take a look at this video from 7K Metals describing fiat currency.
Have you ever wondered what gives that paper bill in your hand its value? The answer is fiat currency. Fiat currency is a type of currency that is declared legal tender by a government, but is not backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver. In the past, currencies were backed by commodities like gold or silver, which meant that the value of the currency was directly tied to the value of the commodity. This was known as the gold standard. However, most countries have moved away from this system and now use fiat currency. Fiat currency is created by a government or central bank, and its value is derived from the faith and confidence that people have in it. In other words, people accept fiat currency because they believe that others will also accept it, and because they trust that the government or central bank will ensure its stability.
That one necessary aspect of fiat currency is for people to trust the government for its stability. And that's the Congress, the President, the Federal Reserve, and that they have the people's interest as a sole basis for their action. This is not a warning about potential collapse of the currency. We'll talk about that in a later video. This is an alarm that your money and savings right now are slowly being eaten away. And there are two important things you should know about fiat currency that can really affect your life. First is the risk that there is inflation and potential hyperinflation. This happens when people in charge print too much money. For instance, when the government passes multiple trillion-dollar bills in the span of several years, when there's too much money around, the stuff we want to buy can get more and more expensive. Our savings lose their value. High inflation can make it harder for regular folks to make ends meet. It's the statement you hear in the news more and more. There's more money chasing fewer and fewer goods. Secondly, there's something called moral hazard with fiat currency. Moral hazard refers to a situation where one party is insulated from risk, and it can lead to irresponsible behavior because they do not pay the full consequences for their action. Think the U.S. government printing mountains of fiat currency for their donor class projects. The way fiat money works, corrupt or misguided people might take big financial risks to receive back rewards, and they benefit, not you. Let's move on. Robert Kiyosaki's insight into the nature of fiat currency is exemplified by his quote, "People are poor because they don't understand fake money." Watch this short segment by Robert Kiyosaki on fake money.
Real quarters, because when I was 17 years old, in '64, I saw the quarter go to copper. It was fake, it was an alloy. So I started collecting dimes and then quarters and half dollars. I had this big bag of real silver. And my mother says, "What are you doing?" I said, "This is real money." So this is 64, 65, I go to school in New York. 66, I come home. My mother spent it all. And so I wrote the story for AARP. They turned it down. I said, the lesson is poor people are poor because they don't know fake money.
It's surprising for a 17-year-old, Robert Kiyosaki's earliest insight into money was the nature of money itself. That it was at the very cusp of the U.S. dollar turning into fiat currency in 1971, and that it was beginning to lose value, and that silver itself was the real coin, the real monetary policy. Lastly, while politicians and media celebrated early this year when inflation slowed to 3.6, they failed to acknowledge the cumulative effect of inflation and the gradual devaluation of currency. This means that in 2021 and 22, it collectively amounts to a staggering 50% loss in the value of our money. While a decrease in inflation is undoubtedly good news, it's crucial to recognize the substantial damage that's been done over the years. However, this disconcerting reality is that fiat currency is inherently and ominously prone to inflation, a relentless erosion of its purchasing power over time, triggered by a corrupt political class with tribal and infantile monetary policies. Our government, characterized by dual-party leadership, both factions shoulder the blame for the massive proliferation of the money supply, a trend that has escalated dramatically since the pandemic's outset. The result? An impending tidal wave of inflation crashing onto our shores, the erratic economic policy, the landscape riddled with inconsistencies and shifts foster an unsettling atmosphere and leaves us, the people, increasingly uneasy about the future stability of our currency. If you have cash sitting, consult with your financial advisor about your concerns. I'm thankful to the silver community that was available to me when I began my silver stacking journey. If you're new to silver and precious metals, verify what I'm saying about fiat currencies and the concerns over the dollar rapidly losing value in these times. For the newcomer with a small budget, know that you can invest in silver. It's called the poor man's gold. It's a precious metal. You can buy an ounce of silver a week to begin to hedge your money against inflation. Silver is a store of value. Buy it, sit on it, watch it hold its value against inflation in the long run. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us at West Coast Stackers. For more silver stacking adventures, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below. Thank you for being part of West Coast Stackers. Stay curious, question the world around you. Don't take anything for granted, especially the media at face value. Look behind the curtain. Remember, investing is our fundamental right that we must protect. Stay vigilant and keep stacking.